Hi, I'm Alex Pletcher, and I love going to the movies. And last night, I had the pleasure of seeing Christopher Landon's new film, Drop, at the Trustees Theater in Savannah, Georgia, a week advance screening. And I went into this movie with modest expectations. If you haven't seen the trailer, the premise of this movie is a woman's going on her first date in some time. She's a mother, and she is getting airdropped messages on her phone that are vaguely threatening memes. And then things take a very serious turn. I try to go into movies without seeing the trailer, especially horror movies, and especially if the director has my trust. Unfortunately, I'm not a fan of phone horror. So this one, and coming off of We Have a Ghost, no shade at Christopher Landon, because I actually am a massive fan of his. I believe he made the best paranormal activity film, but even more so, Happy Death Day is the movie that got me into horror movies. Like the very, very first one. The very first brick at the stone wall was my mom watching Happy Death Day. And I walked in and I said, who's this incredibly hot chick in this movie? So I have to sit down and watch it. And then well, you know what? I watched Scream before that. That was the only horror movie I'd seen. But I was very averse to horror movies, but Scream showed me they could be funny too. That was the first one my parents actually wanted to show me. And I enjoyed that. And then Happy Death Day is a very funny horror movie. And I still have an undying love for that movie. You know, it's a vitally important movie in my life. So Christopher Landon movies will always have my interest. I thought he was the best choice to do Scream whenever they decided to reboot it. And even though they didn't choose him for that, they chose him for Scream 7 until that fell through. And that really broke my heart. I also am a big fan of Freaky, his body swap movie with Vince Vaughn and Catherine Newton. I think this guy has got a great voice in horror. His last movie on Netflix, We Have a Ghost, was just unfortunately very bad. There's no two ways about it. I have no idea if it was a work for hire job or what. It just was brutal to get through. This was not, though. I am not a fan of phone horror, but I'll come right out and say that this is like the best phone tech-based horror movie. The way Hitchcock would have done this shit. And I mean that. I mean, this is so ingenious and clever in its writing. The trailer I didn't walk out of, but I would look away, look at my phone, look at my fiance, do anything to not fully pay attention to it, especially towards the second half after, you see a shot of somebody in her house. I'm like, I don't want these visuals. I just don't want to know where this is going. And thankfully I didn't. And I thought this was just thrilling. I thought this was a lot of fun. Super fun ride. You have to suspend your disbelief. This is super trap coded. M. Night Shyamalan's Trap, which I'm a massive fan of. And I think you have to know who you are. And if you don't need a movie to always adhere to the rules of the reality you live in, which why would you? This is a very fun thriller, and not even a turn your brain off thriller. It's just like, why is this guy still on the date with her? Type of things. Like, I wasn't really thinking that until I was like, well, I don't know. And then it just plays all the right strings for me. It really did. I thought it was super compelling. Both lead performers, Megan Fahey, I believe is her name, and forgive me, I do not know the guy's name. I'd not seen them in anything other than she showed up in Your Monster and he showed up in Vice, is what I saw on their filmographies. But I didn't recognize them from those things. I didn't know them going in. I thought they were both super fun, played off each other super well. The twists all worked for me. And the one location aspect of it I thought was super fun. This movie is produced by Blumhouse and Michael Bay, Platinum Dunes. And I just have to say, coming off of The Woman in the Yard, which is a movie that really bothered me in how it handled incorporating heavier themes and a message into their high concept thriller horror movie. Because I did not think that was done well or tastefully or with any sort of tact whatsoever. Here, there is elements, and for the next 30 seconds, if you want to skip to 5 minutes and 20 seconds, I'll be spoiling. There are elements of a domestic abuse plotline that I thought was handled really well to give this a deeper meaning and more punch, and I appreciated it, especially coming off of how much The Woman in the Yard left a bad taste in my mouth. I thought this one was handled well, and a really nice bounce back from Blumhouse. And, always great to see Michael Bay's name on a good movie. So, that being said, if you are into fun thrillers, and just seeing where a movie takes you on a fun 90-minute ride, I absolutely recommend giving Drop a try. It's an amazing return to form from Christopher Landon, and it far exceeded my expectations, even from a new film from a director I really enjoyed. It's coming out on April 11th in a week, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching.